Hello Scorpio, welcome to your reading. My name is Maria and this is a tarot intuitive story for you if you have Scorpio anywhere in your chart, or even if you don't, if you're a cross watcher or if you're drawn to this video for some other reason. If it speaks to you, if it resonates, then it's for you. We have 3 decks of cards on the table: the Zen Tarot, the Cosmic Creatures, and the Light Seers Tarot. And we start out with the 10 of Pentacles, the Happiness card. So your reading would like to talk to you about your happiness, about reaching happiness, about where you've been and what happened and where you could be going, all of that. And this card, it comes out to me, it is the Happiness card, but it doesn't actually look very happy to me. This is a former situation that you were in, and it almost looks like everybody's sort of a little artificial and sort of trying to look like there's something that they might not be. The only one that looks really actually happy in this picture is this one, this little girl, which is you, regardless of gender. And so I see you, it could also have been a work environment or a group you belong to, but it could very well be your family, maybe a nuclear family you grew up in. And it just looks like it's not really happy, but it's meant to look happy. That's how it comes out. It comes out as if these grown-ups or these leaders of this situation are they're trying to make it out as though they are very happy. It's very important what it looks like, how it looks to others. It's about social status, it's about the facade, and all of these pentacles are really put on display so that everybody can see the wealth or the success or the status, or whatever it is that is very valued in this environment. It's very clear that the resources are put up for show for everybody else to see, but the actual reality of this scenario was something quite different. The emotional reality of it was incredibly uncomfortable, most likely, and because of these values that things had to look really, really good from the outside, it meant a lot of social control, a lot of everybody watching each other, and a lot of rules that nobody was allowed to break. And if they did, there would probably quite uncomfortable, maybe terrible sanctions. So everybody was sort of watching everybody, and it was that was actually not that flow, happiness, playful sort of vibe that maybe they were trying to portray in the outer world. So of course, on a deeper level, this was an incredibly stressful situation, whether it was a job environment or the family that you grew up in. It was not comfortable. It looked like one thing on the outside because it was supposed to, and then in reality, the actual emotional reality was that it was deeply stressful, probably anxiety ridden, and just really not very safe feeling. And in that environment, there was an alpha, male or female, but somebody stronger than all the others, a leader or a matriarch or patriarch, or however that played out. Somebody was calling the shots, or somebody was that kind of person who's so dominating it with their energy that everybody sort of tries to please them all the time, just, so they don't break out in some crazy anger tantrum, or it just reminded me of, if you imagine meeting a bear in its natural environment, how much stronger than you it would be, how terrifying that situation would be, and how also unpredictable that situation would be, because they could do some terrible harm or they could just walk away. And I feel like that alpha, the leader in that situation, would have been very, very strong and ruthless, and also quite unpredictable. So you being in that environment and being incredibly ill-suited to it, because here you are as the only one who has actual natural life force, life energy. Everybody looks like they're a little dead inside and kind of just going through the motions. And here you were with a depth of actual feeling, with your heart and your natural energy just still sort of untouched, and just really, really not well fitted to that environment. So you wished upon a star. I see you here just wishing, hoping, dreaming of another reality, of finding some way out of that situation. I think what was probably your primary wish was to find a way to get out of there. And where you wanted to go was, I think, more or less anywhere. You just wanted to get out of there. You wanted to be a part of, I guess, another world, another way of being together, other kinds of people who would be dancing together or holding hands together. I also see you longing for maybe more diversity, like probably in this environment, everybody, because it's so robotic, so everybody's sort of behaving in the same way, maybe looking in the same way, and you're dreaming of something much more colorful, and just maybe you wanted to see the world, or I mean, all of this is in the past because the present is coming quite a while later. Or, you know, find yourself on the timeline, because it's a story, so depending on when you find the video, you will be at different places. But I think for most of you, we're talking still about the past. So you were dreaming about getting out into the world, and sort of imagining it to be greener pastures, imagining it to be a greater place, dreaming of a better place. And this card indicates to me that you might have waited quite a while. I'm not sure how long. Of course, you'll know depending on the situation, but certainly longer than you wanted to. So you were sort of dreaming of getting out of there. And but then you grew your little wings, and you could fly out of there, actually. So this comes out in two ways. It both comes out as a sort of coming into your wings, making it possible for you to actually get out of there in some way or another. It also comes out as, in a way, diminishing yourself, sort of making yourself a little bit invisible, in order to slip out unnoticed. So that might have been your strategy. Your strategy might have been to somehow wash yourself out, and so that nobody was really watching what you were doing, and then you could fly away and nobody would sanction you. And I think that you might have done that maybe some of the time, but maybe slipping away, like a strategy to cope while you were in it. You sort of maybe developed a strategy where you could sort of sneak out once in a while. But then, of course, at some point from this, you actually escape your situation. You do get out of there, from the fly to this, and you come to another place. You come into your own. You come into this could be, if this is a timeline from your childhood. Here you are as a child, and then here you are as a teenager, wishing for something better, and then here you are gone off to university or college, or into the world, or to some place, moving away from home, whatever it is that you do. Here you are in your own life, creating your own life, and you're doing that quite differently from what you came from, because this is so much more vibrant, and also you look so happy. You look so free and so nurtured and so creative. Like this person in this picture just has such a charisma of love and happiness, and joy, and it's just really wonderful. So you actually turned out to have major life skills, or major whatever skills we're talking about. If this was a work situation, you do very well, and you're very creative, and you're also, the way you are using your pentacles, because you also create a lot of abundance, you create a lot of resources, and you're actually using them for something. You're cooking up like a meal, out of it, and then you'll give that meal to yourself and others, and then new things will come in. It's not about just hanging it on the wall so that people can see it like a dead thing. Your resources are very alive, and you're using them, and you have like that flux and flow to create actual happiness, and to create actual, just creative living in your life. And also, here's a winged creature again. So you had gotten little wings when you became a fly, and now you're a little bit of a bigger bird. And I think that something about this having wings is essential to your happiness and to how you're living your life. It could be, well, the wings could represent something that you do for a living, for example, or how you're living. Maybe you're actually doing something that involves flying, maybe you're in the travel industry, or you travel the world. But you could also be flying in other ways. You could be a philosopher or a researcher, or you could be doing something that's incredibly expansive with your mind or emotions, just something that you have, something that's your thing, that's sort of just, you spread your wings, and you feel like this best part of you, I guess, and it's bringing you a lot of abundance, like it's coming back with pentacles for you. And in the meantime, I actually see this, you come out with the silence card, and this seems to me like you cutting off contact to that thing that you came from. Could be a working situation you left, and you're just like, see you never, bye. Or it could be your family, and you're just like, I'm going no contact, it's not healthy for me. Or you could just have minimized it quite a lot. I mean, it doesn't look to me like you're very much in contact with those, with that situation, while you're creating your own life. And you're reaching sort of a peak in a way in that development that you're going through, because you then come out with the eagle, and you started as a little fly, and then you became a little bit of a bigger bird, and then becoming the eagle. And it's almost like you just became the eagle when something else happened. You just sort of came into those wings and to that majesty, and that the mythological creature of the highest potential for a Scorpio is the eagle. For the Scorpio's highest potential is soaring as the eagle. That's your mythological sort of spirit animal. So you actually become that. So you've been very much on path. You've been doing something completely great, and then enter the antagonist, enter the Ahole. Something or somebody, I think from your past, re-entered your life to create a lot of havoc. You had reached this, and that made you visible. You were a little fly before, so you weren't really that noticeable. You could slip away, but then you just create so much abundance and success so that when you reach this, your light shines out to an extent that you can't be invisible anymore. Like it's just not possible. You've reached the level where visibility is a part of it. This one notices, and they come in to create, I think, a really uncomfortable situation for you, maybe devastating situation. And this is all in the past, so you already know it. It's not something that's coming. And they come out as the tiger. And the way this story was told to me is that this person who comes in, who sort of creates a deception, or rains on your parade, or clips your wings, or it could be a big thing, small thing, but certainly it's something that really shocks you to your core, that this person from the past came in and just actually wanted to steal your success or sabotage it, or they might have come in with that intention. They also might not. They might not have been clear about their intentions, and then once they got into your energy, they were just maybe overcome by envy or old shadows, and then they just created some sort of really complicated situation for you where you took a hit. And that person from your past was this one's right hand. That's how it comes out. And that could be metaphorically or in actual fact. Somebody who was present in this scenario that was just behind the alpha, but that you hadn't maybe noticed as much because the alpha was very prevalent and very dominant and was calling all of the shots. But then behind that one, this one was operating, and you were not completely aware of it, not to the clarity that you are now. And that's why when this one showed up, you didn't immediately recognize them as a predator. You're a winged creature. This one will eat you if it gets its chance. And it certainly did or tried to. It didn't of course eat you completely, but it certainly did try to, you see this one running away with sort of a bird and the feathers flying. So that was that situation that happened, and I think that it went fairly quickly because you're being moved out of that situation in a rush. So I'm not exactly sure how long it took for them to sort of pull off this deception, let's say, or wreak this havoc. Could have been like one conversation and then you were out of there and the universe helped you. It was like your chariot has arrived and then you were just whisked out of that situation. I think as soon as possible, Spirit showed up to take you out of it. And you might feel like, yeah, it wasn't quite soon enough, but I think there's an explanation coming for that. As if it's possible for you to have faith that Spirit really came in as fast as they could, as soon as it was karmically possible, Spirit came with your chariot and you were taken out of that situation. So why did this happen? Well, there's kind of an explanation in the cards, because this person from your past who was operating always in the shadows, in the shadow of another alpha who seemed to be wreaking all the, but who just seemed to be the one who was causing this situation, is actually an incredibly dangerous influence and has been all the time, but has just been operating so much in the shadows that you didn't quite know. But when they come in and they really show you who they are, it just answers a million questions for you. It answers a million questions. All of a sudden you're realizing, oh, but that's why that thing that person said was never fitting with that thing that other person said. And that's why I was always wondering why that door was closed at those times. And this was why I always had a pit in my stomach when somebody said this, that, or the other. And, you just get sort of a complete where you just realize, I was right all the time. I was right all along. I was seeing some things in this scenario that I was seeing incredibly clearly, and I was shut up. I was told to just, control myself and stop being hysterical or whatnot, and not talk about it and not ask questions because it was nothing and there was nothing going on. But there was, and you were right all along, and your radar was impeccable, and you knew. You knew the truth of that situation that you were in, even if we're talking about a situation where you were just the tiniest little child. You knew the truth, and you're realizing that now that this one showed themselves as they are, as what they are. Now you can see it. So even though that lesson was let's say it's a lesson that person came back in, or energy was really harsh, it's actually creating an immense amount of clarity of something essential, something foundational, something that you need to know. That you might have had a family or been in a working environment that was kind of crazy making, and they were kind of calling you crazy, but really, you know, you were the only one that was actually in contact with something truthful and real. And to have that information is actually crucial for you to know that you were in contact with truth all along, and that all of your sensations and feelings inside of you were truthful. And it's gonna serve you really well to have that clarity, because when the foundation is unclear, you can only go so far, and then things will start to crumble, and that's kind of what happened. Excuse me. So you're being given this clarity, and after leaving that situation, you're taking a time out, I think probably a little bit in shock. You come out the slowing down and the Two of Wands, you just had to digest that, because that was a lot, and you have to take some time for all of this to sort of settle, and for you to realize what it was about that this one came back in, and maybe licking your wounds after whatever they said or did. So you're taking a little bit of time afterwards, but then ending this whole kerfuffle and your reading with this. First of all, just the color. I mean, we're talking about the most radiant, amazing card on this whole table. It just knocks out everything else. It has so much clarity. It has so much vibrancy. And what this card wants to say, of course, this is you, Scorpio. It's talking about how you might have never completely developed that sort of, let's say, lower part of you, or reptilian part, because you're incredibly sweet. Like, you come out as this so lovable. I bet you're that kind of person that everybody falls in love with. You have such natural, loving, happy life energy, like such a cute kid, and then such a sweet teenager, just wishing upon a star. And then once you get into life, you just create this beautiful, creative life. And so you actually never really took out your claws, because you don't like to do that. It's not who you want to be. It's not what you want to do. But Spirit was like, you need to know, you need to do this, you need to know how to defend yourself, because then you can spread your wings and fly. It's just the last thing you need for you to soar. You got to the eagle, but you can't spread your wings unless you know how to self-champion. And I think that you had to be really, really, really pushed for you to fight back. You were gonna go for fawning, and freezing and flying away before you went for fighting. But now you know how, because this situation taught you that sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes it's necessary to sling that Scorpio tail at somebody, because you're gonna need that skill for this next part where you're gonna soar, where you're gonna spread your wings. You need to be able to fight back. And I think that this situation taught you that. It might have taught you that in the situation, or this period of contemplation that you take afterwards makes you realize, yeah, I'm gonna have to stand up for myself in a situation like that. And what I see that is in this tale is not venom, it's truth, which is much more dangerous. Much more deadly. And I think that would defeat anyone, this one including, and maybe that's what you did. You might have defeated them with truth, or you would if they came in some other time. That's why it was so important that you had clarity, because that clarity means that you are now in complete contact with the truth, like just a clear channel, and that will be enough to protect you. And you need that. So you sort of like you needed the reptile to become the eagle. You might have never gone into this because you're so sweet and you didn't want to, but it's sort of like a spiritual truth, a law of nature. You need to know this, you need to master this for this to completely take off. And so that's what happened. That's what happened. Yeah. And this one is you're gonna spread your wings, because now you know you can protect yourself. This was your reading, Scorpio. I thought it was so beautiful. You had both the eagle and the Scorpion come out for you. So, and the happiness card. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. If you did, please like, subscribe, share, comment, and all of that. And come back again. Bye.